Typeform is not just a blank form, it's not just a blank canvas. It's an interactive, engaging experience where someone can apply their brand, their own imagery, and they can customize according to their use case and according to the brand.
Do you feel that the image for Typeform since you arrived has evolved?
The brand essence hasn't changed drastically throughout the years, but then in terms of actual visual applications, like yes, the visual identity has evolved.
Do you ever find yourself in the position where you need to decide between prioritizing the brand consistency or actually experimenting with the creative work you're doing?
We're trying to keep consistent because consistency is building trust over time. We all know that. But at the same time, you need to keep the sparkler alive and you have to also surprise your audience.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Andres Figueira and I'm going to be your host for the day. This show is brought to you by the Global Talent Company, helping fast-growing teams hire exceptional remote talent from Argentina, South Africa, and beyond. We connect companies with world-class professionals who bring skill, reliability, and a global perspective to every role. And just for our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your first hire. All you need to do is visit globaltalent.co, click Start Hiring, and mention the podcast listener discount when we get in touch. And today, with me here, I am speaking with Dimitra Papastathi, Head of Creative and Design at Typeform, a company that's helping over 150,000 businesses collect the data they need with forms, surveys, and quizzes that people enjoy. And with that said, Dimitra, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Andres.
No worries at all. We're very happy as well to have you hop on with us. And just to get people a bit more in context, Dimitra, would you be able to tell us in your own words a bit of your background, your experience, how you got to Typeform, and in the end, what Typeform is?
So like you just mentioned, I am the head of creative design at Typeform right now. I help shape the creative vision of the brand, and I'm leading a team of 4 there. I have a very strong background in brand design. Everything started years ago in London, where I gained my experiences in well-known branding agencies and studios. And my background is really rooted in fashion and culture. I've always loved shaping brands, creating brand systems. And then at some point, I was very attracted by the tech, by the new products, and particularly the tech in Barcelona. So I joined Typeform, which is a really, really interesting product. It has been really reshaping how people experiencing forms such as feedback forms, surveys, quizzes. So Typeform has done it in a very different and engaging way comparing to other companies. The product keeps evolving since, I believe, 2013, if I am not wrong. I think this is when Typeform was founded. And for the last few years, I'm helping the product with creative narratives to showcase all the capabilities to the world.
Do you feel that your background in culture and fashion has kind of like changed the way you approach design in the tech industry? Because I feel people could be in tech for a long time and then they just have this mindset of how it should be. But coming from a different area, maybe that has really shaped how you decide to take things on.
I believe so. I believe it has added a specific flavor to it. Traditionally, startups, if you remember the first startups, they were all following similar visual language. Blue was the color to be in all the CTAs, and illustrations, and then everything was looking pretty dry, I have to say. The human element was missing from the scene. So I would say coming from a different background really helps create engaging visuals that people can relate to, and they can really our audience can really imagine the product in their real life.
In your background from culture and fashion, do you feel that there's any design principle that tech brands should be using but they aren't? Like in any way that you feel, hey, this is something I learned that works really well in fashion, but in tech it's being completely ignored?
It's been quite a while now that the many startups they're trying to create a distinct brand image for themselves. So many of them they are detaching from these original emerging patterns, these blue buttons and illustrations and dry visuals. They want to inject more of the human element in their brand story. So this is a common practice that we see more and more. Obviously, it depends the sector, it depends the industry, it depends the audience. Not all of the tech products can adopt the same brand image. But I would say that I have been seeing more and more an editorial feel in the tech industry that we weren't really observing in the past. At the same time, because everything needs to be systematized and everything needs to be designed for scale, it's hard to balance creative expression with functionality. But I believe that brands, they tend to have this more human aspect in their brand assets, and particularly in assets connected to content and campaigns.
I understand that. No, and also, like, I believe in Typeform, which is a product, even though it's tech, it's not the most enticing thing. Like, hey, go do a form, go do a survey, go just do a quiz, and proper branding and creative design behind that should make it a bit more fun and actually just something that is better to look at. Because if you're going to be just staring at a blank form with blank spaces to fill out, you could make it a bit more entertaining to the user, and that way just make them enjoy your brand even more. That's how I would also think about the creative design behind a brand like Typeform, just because I do believe it needs a bit more flair, if that's anything I could actually interject with. But also, Dimitra, would you also be able to tell us a bit more about Typeform? And do you guys, this is a company, a tech company that works with countries all around the world. Users anywhere can use your website to just create forms and send them to inside their companies and everything like that, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. You can access Typeform from anywhere in the world. 100%. This is an international company and offering, and anyone can share with their audience this engaging product, because like you just said, Typeform is not just a blank form, it's not just a blank canvas. It's an interactive, engaging experience where someone can apply their brand, their own imagery, and they can customize according to their use case and according to the brand.
And then if Typeform is that international, how big is the team that is managing Typeform? Like, how big is the company?
The company, so we're about 300 people right now.
Okay, that's a bunch. That's a bunch. And how many people do you have in your team helping you with the creative design?
So I have 4 people in my team, and then we're also collaborating with a small creative agency that is helping us. It's our extended creative team, if you want, that is really helping us to produce as much as we can and tell all these great stories to the world. And we're really lucky to be collaborating with them. So it's a bit of a hybrid moment.
Okay, and does what you do with creative design, does that permeate into the marketing of Typeform and how they take their campaigns and how they talk to the audience? Is this something that is connected between both of those departments?
So yeah, absolutely. Our team is called Creative Studio, and we're part of the marketing division. And our responsibilities, they are separated into 2 categories. So on one side, we help shape the foundation, we help shape the brand, the colors, typography, everything that the people really need to use in order to produce all those marketing assets. And on the other side, we are supporting the marketing team with the requests that they come our way, whether this is a product campaign, a content campaign, paid ad assets, anything that really needs to communicate the great functionalities of our product.
Okay, and do you have any example of a campaign that you helped out with that was very successful, or that you did something that really caused a spike in more users or in more acceptance from the audience? Is there any story behind that you could tell us?
we have very recently announced a new campaign, which is called Get Real. And we launched a survey and questioned more than 1,000, I believe, something between 1,000 to 2,000 marketeers and creative to take their perspective on the use of AI, on the use of generative AI. So we would like to know what people think about AI. Do they use them? Do they use it in their day-to-day work? Do they use it to produce content? Do they disclose that they use AI? Are they positive about the future? So we're gonna share a very complete report about the use of AI and what AI can bring to marketing very, very soon. Creative has helped this campaign by producing a proper identity for the assets, very particular graphics, and the whole report, which has, I believe, 3 sections in total. Creative has been really behind this big effort from led by the content in the team, the content social in the team.
Okay, I love that. So now then, you're trying to just get to understand how people can use generative AI in the marketing and then showing those results to the audience just so that it creates more education within your users.
Yeah, we're trying to show to people how AI can actually be a lever and not just something that we need to fight. It turns out that the results are more positive than negative, and this is what people would like to read, to understand why the audience thinks AI can be a powerful tool for their work.
And Dimitra, do you have any other ways that you yourself are using AI in your daily processes, in your workflow?
This is a really interesting question and something that I have been questioning myself as well. Like, where can AI help me? And when can AI bring real value without, without putting me in dilemmas? Because, there are all these ethical dilemmas. There are also dilemmas about, should I use AI in such way or in such way? And would people be offended, or would people think, oh, this is not real, should then I use it or not? I believe there is a moment for using AI, depending, like you say, on the intention behind it. We definitely use AI in order to support creative brainstorming. So AI can shape some rough ideas that we later on can take and polish. So it can be our creative assistant. This is one case where we can use AI. We can use AI to replace stock photography. So I believe that using AI in a much more illustrative way doesn't offend anyone. I would say, when you're trying to tell a story and it's very evident, very obvious that you're not trying to cheat or to fool anyone, you can use AI. Everyone knew that stock photography is not real people, right? Everyone knew that stock photography is used just to carry a message across. And everyone was okay with that. Like, no one ever said, oh, this is not a real person working on the computer. Everyone knew that that was just an actor pretending to work on a computer just to associate with the audience. So I think there is nothing wrong in using AI to generate similar imagery there. It could be maybe wrong if I was trying to use AI to create my avatar and fool people with a capability that I don't have. I would say, like, completely replacing a human and trying to fool the audience doesn't sound right, but using AI in a much more illustrative way, just to tell the story, just to be creative, I believe there's nothing wrong there. And adding to that, I think when we use AI and a creative asset that has AI has a bit of a whimsical feel to it, it's even more evident that we're not trying to pull anyone, right? We're using it in a way to create engaging visuals, not to fool. So this is another way I believe AI can be useful, and another way we would like to explore as well.
And now, talking about AI, have you felt that the team with Typeform has been able to get faster, leaner, and a lot better with the help of these LLMs that are around now? Or do you feel that if Typeform keeps expanding, that you will need more people to help you out? Or is AI taking that slot?
I would say that AI gives us more power to go deeper into creative ideas. We haven't reached yet that moment where we will say AI really helped us produce X amount more assets, or AI has really helped us create these linear processes. We haven't really reached this point because there has been such such a fast evolution in the AI tools throughout last year
Mhm.
that we were not able to commit to one solution and come up with a long-term plan. So
Okay.
if you think of the same moment, if you think of today, 1 year ago, there was just one or two AI tools to generate images, right? And the question was, who's going to be the leader? Okay, let's have a exploration and decide if we're going to get a subscription with the first tool or with the second tool. Since that moment, there have been maybe 10 different solutions. So we have been constantly trying to catch up with the features and the capabilities of every new tool that popped up in the market. So as you understand, it has been very challenging for us in order to define a clear methodology and to say, okay, now we use AI in such way, and it has really helped us scale productivity. We have made some progress, but I can't say with certainty that, this is the way to go.
Of course.
Yeah. And just to add to that, we created a ritual last year, which is called AI Kitchen. And
Okay.
that was an opportunity to consolidate all the tools that we found and do some live testing together as a team and understand really the capabilities of all the tools instead of having individual efforts and, individual exploration that would create all this fragmented information. We came all together and we tried to make this collective discovery in order to maybe come up with a decision and, decide on a tool that will help us on what you just said.
I love the term AI kitchen. I just feel it sounds so nice and so elegant.
Yeah, we're cooking.
Exactly. You're cooking and you're getting all these different tools. You give me this knife, give me a spoon. It sounds beautiful. And Dimitra, I do know and I understand that, yeah, AI, once you get comfortable with it, a new feature comes out and you're like, wait, how do I use this? How do I go about making this work for me and work for me even better? It's a never ending story with AI, and I feel it's really exciting. But Dimitra, would you be able to maybe walk us through your team's process from when you first conceive an idea and to when it's finally executed? Like, how would that work between you guys?
It really depends according to the nature of his project. I wouldn't say that it's the same for every challenge that we take. I would also say that, creatives don't have a linear thinking. Every creative, they follow their own process, but we are trying to respect the methodology for certain cases. For example, when it comes to produce their direction for a campaign, like the one that I just mentioned earlier for the Get Ready campaign, we would always start with a team brainstorming. We will collect as many ideas as possible. This is the moment as well to welcome ideas from the marketing team, not just from the designers or from the copywriters. So it's good to receive all these references and understand where the mindset is. And
Okay.
after this moment, we try to filter and understand how these references would work in our context, in our case. Then the creatives involved with the project, they would take their time and they would go and explore, they would go to do some designs and, come back with some ideas that we would then again take and filter down even more. And as we reach towards the deadline, we will be able to come up with this one solution. Obviously, throughout this process, there are creative reviews that happen. So we receive feedback from the driver of the project, and then we go back and apply this feedback to make sure we respect the goal and the message that we want to transmit with any project. But yeah, I would say I could maybe call it creative funnel, where at the beginning, there are so many things, and as we approach towards the end, we filter and filter and filter in order to reach a solution. There are some moments that you can open up again, like you come up with an idea, and then you're like, okay, but maybe I didn't think of this earlier. Let me try. But the goal is to try and keep focus and narrow down. Even when we, make this pot with the references, we're trying to add notes on why every reference could be useful. Is this because of the visual style? Is it because of the content? Is it because of the animation? So try to understand exactly what is the interesting elements that would help us shape our result.
Okay.
Otherwise, we can easily get lost. There's so much creative energy out in the world. If someone goes on Instagram or LinkedIn, they would see how much is getting produced, and it's so easily to get overwhelmed and get lost if we don't really focus on the exact goal that we want to achieve, right?
Of course. No, and I can only imagine, because creativity, I do believe that is the thing. You can have so many ideas and you can feel so passionate about a bunch of them that you really need to just be able to nail one down and make sure it follows what the business wants as well, and then just like lean into it and make sure it comes out the way you like it. But I do understand that there can be a broad scope of possibilities that really take some time to really decide on. But Dimitra, do you have, or do you know how you measure whether your creative work is actually working to drive the business?
Sure. Again, it depends. It depends. There are indicators that we can set according to the project. It could be brand affinity. It could be brand awareness. It could be more of those, like much more qualitative, that we might have to sort out by running a study, or it could simply be performance. Did people convert? Did people sign up? Which is also something much more straightforward. Again, according to the project, the indicators might change. Obviously, the qualitative ones are much more challenging, much harder to measure, and we need to have the willingness, to wait and see the results.
I understand, and I believe that's also where the marketing team, like you guys are in the marketing department, but that's where the KPIs and all these metrics come in to see how people are reacting to what you guys are doing. And do you feel that the image for Typeform since you arrived has evolved very much since you began working with them, or have you tried to maintain it kind of the same? I know when we started, you mentioned that startups used to all be blue, and you've tried to humanize the brand a bit more. But do you feel that actually has been able to be reflected in the work you've done?
I would say that the brand essence hasn't changed drastically throughout the years. I believe that Typeform still communicates the same message when someone lands on our pages, on CD ads, in terms of the overall essence of the brand. But then in terms of actual visual applications, like, yes, the visual identity has evolved. Obviously, there are cultural moments, there are trends. The way we're dressing up a brand needs to evolve according to how things are changing around it, and also according to how the offering of the company is changing. So Typeform, on one more time, Typeform right now, it's evolving to something much more powerful with AI. The product is not going only to be a form builder. So again, we have to think how we want to transmit this through the brand to our audience. So yeah, a brand is a breathing, living organism. It's not something static. We have to really catch up with the offering, with the product, and also with any external factor that is affecting how people perceive brands, how people perceive the visual language, and how the trends as well are shaping the industry. So I would say it's an amalgam, am I pronouncing it right? Of different factors that affect the brand, and Typeform is no exception. We have been evolving and trying to catch up with all of those.
Now that I hear you, Dimitra, this also raises a question in my mind that like it just popped up, and it's, do you make sure that Typeform keeps the branding consistent, like around the world and wherever it's accessed, or do you actually try to change it depending on the demographic of the country that's going to be accessing Typeform or Jotform or anything like that?
No, we're trying to keep as much consistent as possible. We might have to alter slightly the tone of voice or the messaging in certain cases. I mean, Typeform won't speak the same way on the website, won't speak the same way. If we need to explain some pictures of the product, for example, or won't speak the same way. If we need to create content for social, right? It's like different channels have different requirements. But overall, I would say, yes, the brand keeps consistent. And we try to create and maintain brand systems so that we can scale and we can track this consistency as well.
Have you ever reached or do you ever find yourself in the position where you need to decide between prioritizing the brand consistency or actually experimenting with the creative work you're doing? And like, I believe like your team must have a million ideas. So do you ever reach the spot where you need to choose and say like, hey, let's keep this as it is, or let's actually allow us to create something new?
So there have been cases where, we might design something that is not as consistent as it should be. Or there might be cases where we are stretching a bit the brand because we are doing particular brand campaigns where the theme stretches a little bit from the usual visual language that we're using in throughout the corporate materials. There are also some other cases where, I read something recently that design finally might not be only about consistency, but it's also about impact, right? So there are cases where we might want to test something new in order to see what is going to have the biggest impact. So there might be some cases where, we will sacrifice consistency in order to take the next step and to see if another idea will really bring us something much more. We will invest in something that will really bring something more to the brand. So yeah, I would say we're trying to keep consistent because consistency is building trust over time. We all know that. But at the same time, you need to keep the sparkler alive, and you have to also surprise your audience. So you can't just be predictable in all the cases. So for sure, there will be some cases that you need to break this pattern and propose new ideas.
And Dimitra, we're almost reaching the end of the episode, but I do have one final question for you. And that one is, if you could give one piece of advice to a creative designer or a marketing about the role of design in the business growth, what would that be?
So I would say make sure you really, really understand the goals of the company that you are designing for.
Okay.
Don't design just for the sake of design. Definitely have fun because you don't want to lose your soul, right? You're a designer, you want to remain creative, but make sure you understand why and what are you designing for, because design is not art. Again, we'll know that. Design is carrying a message. You need to get emotional response from your audience, but at the same time, you shouldn't sacrifice clarity over creativity. So make sure your design has purpose. And this purpose will always come from the company goals that you are working for.
I love that. That is beautiful. And I do believe that you need to have fun and not lose your soul. So, guys, you just heard it here first, and you must understand that. So, in order to keep your creative soul alive, just make sure you understand the purpose of the company, but also have fun with it and make sure you design things that you like. And Dimitra, if anybody here in the audience, if they want to use Typeform, if they want to create some forms or maybe suggest their company to adopt this product, how would somebody go about doing that? I do also want to give you the space to let the audience know.
Well, simply visit our website, typeform.com, and click on the sign up button. It's free. You can try it for yourself.
Dimitra, thank you so much for hopping on the show. Really appreciate your time, your insights, and we really value all the experiences that you shared with us. So thank you very much once more.
Thank you for having me, and I really hope our conversation has been useful. That was a great time. Thank you.
It really was. And to everybody here that has been listening to us, thank you for staying on the show. Thank you for always hopping on to learn about the different personalities that we talk to, all the industries that we're learning about, and to all the businesses that we are also bringing onto this podcast. So thank you once more, everybody. Have a good one.